Jason, you had a correct challenge. You've cleverly got in with 13 seconds to go on the subject of my nemesis, starting now.
My nemesis was a young man at school called Clifford Frame, who had very hairy arms from around the age of 11. I was always jealous of these limbs.
Josie, challenge.
Hesitation.
I think there was, you know, Jason.
Yeah, you went of her, these limbs.
Yes. Right. And you cleverly got in with 2 seconds to go, Josie. So 2 seconds. Tell us more about my nemesis, Josie, starting now.
My nemesis one day decided to...
Very good.
So Josie Lawrence was then speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point, and she's now taken the lead, one ahead of Paul Merton, and then Jason Manford and John Sargent are following in that order. And Paul, we'd like you to begin the next round. The subject is, what lives at the bottom of my garden? 60 seconds, as usual, starting now.
What lives at the bottom of my garden is a secret underground network of spies devoted to overthrowing this country. I wandered down to the end of my garden and listened to their secretive plans being hatched under the moonlit sky. Their chief ambition is to replace Eamon Holmes with a huge animated puppet that acts like the real thing but doesn't eat as much. And this is extraordinary because the very foundation of British journalism is built on the career of this wonderful man. If he was to become something else that we couldn't trust, then I'm sure the people of Great Britain would say the news has changed. It's not what it was. What has happened to our esteemed Ulsterman? There is something about him that isn't the same as there were last week.
Jason, challenge.
I think repetition of the word same.
That's right, you did say same before.
Oh, I'm sure I said,
did.
I did, yeah.
He's not the same, you said earlier on.
Not the same, yeah.
And then same.
That's right. That's okay.
But you went for 50 seconds.
Oh, good.
And you get a point, of course, Jason. 10 seconds, as I said. What lives at the bottom of my garden, starting now?
What lives at the bottom of my garden is my brother in the shed. We let him move in a little while ago.
Josie, challenge.
I was going to say hesitation, and there wasn't really.
So, Jason, you're still there with an incorrect challenge. Another point to you, Jason. And what lives at the bottom of my garden, starting now?
My sibling finished university around 2 years ago and decided that he didn't want to actually pay...
So Jason Manford, the speaker of the whistle went, gained an extra point for doing so. And his situation is that he's now equal with Paul Merton in second place. Josie Lawrence is still in the lead, one ahead. Jason, it's your turn to begin. And the subject is... Oh, lovely one. Tommy Cooper. Oh. Tell us something about that great comic and magician. 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
Well, Tommy Cooper is one of my absolute heroes in comedy, alongside Les Dawson and Dave Allen and Billy Connolly. He's a prop comedian, a...
Josie, challenge?
Hesitation,
There was a hesitation, yes. You tried to remember his props?
I did.
Go on, do him for us.
Well, I thought about doing him, but obviously his phrase is sort of like that, and it's like that, and I thought, that's repetition, I wouldn't be able to do. It's like that, everyone sort of feels like they can do it.
So, Josie, you had a correct challenge. You get a point for that, of course. You take over the subject. Tommy Cooper, 50 seconds starting now.
Ah, the wonderful Tommy Cooper, the man with the fizz. You know, a mate of mine, Sandy, who's a makeup artist, used to work on all his shows, and she said he had one of the biggest faces she's ever seen. And what a wonderful visage. You only have to look at Tommy and you laugh. But his jokes are wonderful, and he was a brilliant magician. One of my favourite jokes was, I've just been to the dentist. He said, there's nothing wrong with my teeth, but my gums have got to come out.
Oh, new challenge.
Repetition of ha. You'd forgotten that you were meant to keep going.
I did.
But I love it that you tell the joke, you love the joke, you tell it again, and you laugh just as loud.
I know, I'm stupid.
No, it's good.
No, that's lovely. Paul, correct challenge. 20 seconds still available. Tommy Cooper, starting now.
I watched Tommy Cooper's last television appearance live at Her Majesty's, I think it was called, 1984. I was watching the programme with a fellow comedian, Norman Lovett.
John, challenge.
Watching.
Yes.
Two watchings.
Two watchings, yes. Watching.
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 Yeah, 2 watchings.
And you were watching him?
Yeah.
And then you were watching
I
us?
was watching you, you were watching him. It's all wrong, Paul. I've got to just, you know, get you back on track, I'm afraid.
John? Can I bring you back into the game?
Yes? Thank you.
And so you had a correct challenge. You get a point for that. Subject is Tommy Cooper. 13 seconds starting now.
Tommy Cooper was a wonderful comedian and a brilliant magician. It wasn't just the phrases, just like that. It was the way.
Josie challenged.
Repetition of just.
Oh, yes. Terrible.
Good one.
It wasn't just the phrases, just like that.
Oh, yes. Well, listen,
Yeah.
my love. Well, yes.
Very good.
And so you got back in there.
Sorry, was that showing me how to play the game? So hit the two just one after another as quick as that. That's where my timing's all just.
So, Josie. 6 seconds still available. Tommy Cooper starting now.
One of the best sketches was the hat sketch. He had a box full...
Jason
sorry.
Chance.
No, it was the sketch thing that you said. Sketches and then sketch.
That's right.
I've learnt that now.
Yes. Well, it doesn't matter. All that happens is Josie gets another point.
Yep.
She has 3 seconds still available. Tommy Cooper starting now.
What an adorable man. I only...
Full challenge.
You did have man before.
You did have man before. You said one.
Do you remember?
Yes, I remember.
She remembers. She remembers.
And Paul, you've got him with 1 second to go. And 1 second. Tommy Cooper, Paul, starting now.
One of the great comedians of the 20th century.
Right.
Very good.
So, let me give you the situation at the end of that round. Josie Lawrence is still in the lead. She's 2 ahead of Paul Merton and more ahead of Jason Manford and John Sargent in that order. Josie, the subject is pound shops. Tell us something about those in this game starting now.
In the olden days, when a wage could be little more than a farthing, pound shops were very expensive establishments. But now they're the best places for bargains, an Aladdin's cave, a cornucopia of treasures. Grab your plastic basket and walk down those brightly lit aisles. Cranberry-scented candles, batteries for my household needs, a jumbo roll of cling film, Christmas decorations, a glowing Madonna on laminated cardboard, all for £1. I have £20 in my purse. I'm rich. Look, over there, bin liners, mint-flavoured hand wipes, toothpaste, shampoo, and up there, plastic chrysanthemums. I love pound shops.
Right, Paul, you want to... What is your challenge, by the way?
You need...
Sorry, I think John's trying to run a minicab business while we're doing the... He's outside now, love. He's outside the door. He's ringing the doorbell. I'll be with you, Nicholas. He's ringing the doorbell. Times are getting hard, are they?
I thought we were allowed to comment on how well Josie done and what it revealed about Josie's life. I thought that was part of it.
Yeah, well, go on.
And it did reveal, revealed an extraordinary interest in these rather horrible stores.
John, she loves them. You don't like them.
No, I don't.
That's because he's never been to the north. That's where they all are. It's not
He
down
goes to
here.
guinea shops.
If they were
Guinea, everything is a guinea.
Wow. Nearly anything.
So where do you go to? Harrods, Fort
I go to the
Masons?
very best places, and if you say, here's £1, you say, what's that? Have you ever seen one of those? Horrible, cheap.
John, despite you calling me cheap, I still want you to grab my hair and drag me across the floor.
I think that deserves a bonus point, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes, right. So, Paul, you challenge. What was it?
Well, I wrote it down because I was in danger of forgetting it.
I know.
Repetition of plastic.
Oh,
That's right, yes. You mentioned plastic before.
Yes.
Right. And, Paul, you've got him in 9 seconds to go. Pound shops starting now.
Josie obviously loves his pound shops. I've wandered in from occasion, but I don't actually find much in there that I like. I prefer staring through the window and conjuring... Oh, that little delicate little bell
is to let us know we only have time for one more round. And Jason, it's your turn to begin.
OK.
And the subject is David and Goliath. What a wonderful subject. 60 seconds as usual. Oh, before we go into the round, you'd like to know the situation. Josie Lawrence is still in the lead, 2 points ahead of Paul Merton, and she's 4 or 5 ahead of Jason Manford, and even more ahead of John Sargent. And so, before we go into the final round, give John Sargent another bonus point, because he needs it, and... Jason,
I don't need charity.
Well, no, you're probably not going charity shops either.
Jason, the subject is David and Goliath. 60 seconds starting now.
David and Goliath, off of the Bible, are two famous chaps who didn't get along. They had a massive fight, which I would have liked to have seen. David was 3'4" and Goliath was 12'8". David had a slingshot with a stone in it, which he aimed right in the centre of Goliath's head. He went down, and David went over and chopped his head off, which for me is a bit harsh. He's already won the match, and he's ruined it for the spectators. David and Goliath can also refer to any sort of situation where somebody small is facing somebody big, or somebody's...
Paul
There's
Challenge.
a couple of somebodies there.
Somebody's, yes,
Sadly.
and small and big. I loved your interpretation. He wasn't 3 foot nothing, David.
No, he wasn't. He was
Goliath
5'8".
was a giant, but he was normal size.
Well, Goliath was 6'8" at the
Yeah,
time, but
6'8".
in the repeated telling of the story, he's now like 8'3". So people just keep adding a couple of inches, but that's men for you.
I think David was just standard height.
Yes, I think he was.
Right. But, Paul, you had a correct challenge. And you have the subject of David and Goliath. 26 seconds starting now.
Well, of course, in the Bible, David is not the fancied man at all. Goliath is so huge. It's about winning against overwhelming odds. Perhaps we can also see parallels in the story of the tortoise and the hare. One animal clearly designed for speed, and the other one ambling along.
Josie, challenge.
Sorry, repetition of one.
Yes, the other one.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yes. Well, listen, Josie. 10 seconds to go. David and Goliath, with you, starting now.
Now, imagine the scene. Poor giant Goliath has been asked by his mates to go out there and fight with a little bloke. So he's in a bit of a no-win situation.
So Josie Lawrence is speaking as a whistle wind, gained an extra point. And now it remains for me to give you the final situation. John Sargent, who did very, very well, but he did finish in a very strong 4th place. And Jason was just ahead of him, 1 point ahead. Jason Manford did very well. He hasn't played the game before. Paul Merton, who has played it quite often, was in 2nd place, but 3 points ahead of Paul was Josie Lawrence. So we say, Josie, you are the winner today. Then it remains to say thank you to these 4 fine players of the game. So it's goodbye from this delightful audience here at the Television Centre. It's goodbye from me, Alexis Parsons. And join us again the next time we play Just a Minute!
Steve Punt and Hugh Dennis are about to pull apart the week's news. It's the Now Show on BBC Radio 4 now. And if I can deviate for just a second, the Eggheads follow next here on BBC 2.